And
Good morning, sir.
Naliji, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Now you take over and proceed further. Yes, now it is with you.
Okay. Here I can see. Now has some problem. Okay. Wonderful. So good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, my Manyaji. Good afternoon, Sudeep.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Atul. Good afternoon, Jitain. Good afternoon, Arnab. Good afternoon, Sarakshi. So we are all set for our fifth session today. So I'm quite sure all of you are back with all new kind of designs which have happened in the last couple of weeks. So what I thought I'll start today with a little bit of probably what has happened again in the last something which you could design, because last time we talked about designing a program of first time manager. If you could recollect that we talked about that. And I'm quite sure you also must have been able to catch up with the overall syllabus what we talked about. So I hope you are able to be on par with the rest of the batch.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Because I believe the sixth chapter, I believe just from a theory perspective, because we are in the fifth class and you have probably the exams are in January, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir. 27 January onwards, I guess.
27 January. So I believe that's what my understanding is. So my request to all of you would be start looking at some of the papers or the case studies and the design programs because it's just a matter of a couple of weeks now. And whatever we have done from a designing point of view, because we have been designing the kind of learning programs at different level. We talked about professional excellence, sales excellence, leadership excellence, and organizational initiative-wise learning program. So your program, the questions or some of the exercises which may be there in the question paper could be falling in any of those areas. So just make sure that you have gone through those unsolved or solved papers with your friends or with your earlier people who have already passed it out. It would be very good if you can discuss a couple of case studies, all of you. Pick up one or two papers, which while I have tried to help you give all the parameters of designing a learning program, but definitely there will be three major questions of maximum marks of your exam, which will need the designing aspects of whatever we have been learning. So my request is start looking at some of those question papers and then try start solving it. So I still see people are joining in. Wonderful. So welcome people, welcome friends. I believe joining in. I believe right now we are in the paper 3 on the 5th session. So we are just trying to get going. I know Arnab was facing some problem in his audio video, but I'm quite sure others are able to get through without any problem. Just to make sure if I have the attendance right, let me see if I can share something and probably that will be a good starting point for me. Okay. So, okay, let me try to see who all are there now. from this list. Okay, I can see Rupesh ji. Yes, okay, here it is. So we have real Rupesh ji. Okay.
Right, sir.
Rupesh ji, I believe just let's take while few seconds to reflect on, have we been able to do some real justice to the paper 3, what you were looking forward for by now? And if you have any questions, Rupesh ji, by now.
So
You can
last,
unmute yourself.
yeah, it is
Yeah,
on
go
me.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir. Certainly.
So are we real? In fact, by now, I believe really we are progressing as per your expectation, Rupesh ji, by now.
Yeah, no, I have started, but sir, last I'm not revised yet. Last class, so I have
Okay.
started. I mean, from beginning, I have started to study again for examination point of view. Honestly,
Anything which you feel probably has come out as a question, query, confusion, or anything, or which you feel probably we can help you?
no, sir. So far, no. But anything comes, then definitely I'll ask you.
Okay. So let's move to Anant, Ardent Anant. I believe we have Anant here. So do you have anything specific, very ardent, I believe, as you're saying, which you would like to probably ask or share with us?
Not very specific. Things are going so far smoothly. I'm getting to know a lot of things which I had some doubt on, and the curriculum that is covered is it's being covered in a very simplified manner. So yeah, so far so good. I don't have any questions, any specifics standing out right now.
Okay, okay, fair enough, Anant. Because you are ardent, so I'm looking forward some of those wittiness there. So that's why, even if you come across anywhere in this journey, feel free to ask. Uh, and let me move on to the next one, which is Jiten Jolly. So I believe,
Yes, sir.
have we been
Yeah,
able
good
to?
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jiten ji. How jolly are you today, and how you can make us jolly by some of the questions or the doubts which you may have, or probably are we have been jolly till now in this
In the nature
program?
of jolly, I would to say 5,000% I'm in the jolly nature. So I cannot sit for a bit of moment in the room. So I'm in the mood of laughing to everyone. I'm just want to say just come with me and be enjoy with every moment of the life. And regarding as per the point of view of the examination and as per the assignment, I have started working out. And few of the cases what I am just facing off, I'm just interlinking with the case study which I am just looking for my current organization. Right now, I am just belong to training industry.
Correct.
So everything I'm just interlinking with this. So I'm just writing the assignment on the behalf of this.
Wonderful. And I believe that's the right approach, Jitenji, because if you pick up your own organization case study, that would be very relevant and you will be able to add maximum value into that case study itself. And but just keep that in mind that the examination will actually have a case study which could be not from your industry, could be from other industry. You will have to probably make some assumptions, some hypothecation when you are trying to design that program, because that program actually needs, as we talked about, it's more on competencies, behavior, mindset, skill set, and obviously the knowledge which we have to impart to them. So
Sure.
keep that in mind that while currently you can pick up your own organization case study, but examination may give you another industry itself.
That the funda of definition and concept and basic we can't change. So we are interlinking with the book also.
Absolutely. And
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Go to the chapter 6. I believe it will help everybody for everybody. So adaptable Anupama, I believe. How are you feeling? In fact, by now, have you been able to adapt to your expectation by now, Anupama? You can unmute yourself, Anupama. Adaptable Anupma. Okay, I'm still waiting for that. Okay. So in the meantime, Priyanka, passionate Priyanka. So I believe delivering a training like this, I believe Priyanka, I believe as train the trainer or probably as a ISTD faculty, have we been able to do it passionately, and you have been able to receive it passionately. So where are you, Priyanka?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm right there.
Right, wonderful, wonderful. So anything which is by now we are in the fifth session. Any questions, any doubts on designing some of the programs through the different methodologies which we have talked
Actually,
about by
sir,
now?
yes, last week was a bit busier because I was taking some of the sessions for a bank, and meanwhile I have also started writing my assignments. So I had to refer the books, Google, and the other sources as well to write my assignment. So by now I don't find any problem, though there were certain challenges while I was going.
What kind of challenges were there?
For like I was little confused while I was confused with getting the same into the cognitive as well as experiential. So I was little confused, and then I discussed few my fellow colleagues, and then somehow I could manage that. So that was a bit confusion there.
And what was, if you can just articulate your confusion or a question, I believe, what was the confusion between cognitive and experiential?
Yes. So actually, when I was there was certain things. No, how would you design the traditional method? That was the question in the assignment. So I was confused. Role play, is it cognitive because it is more of experiential? Then it was coming into that also while I was referring online. So I was a bit confused there because I stuck there because I thought that how come role play is cognitive because it is more of experiential. So that was a point of confusion for me. In fact, it is. I tried, but I thought that by the end of the session, I would ask this question. So
okay, fair. So have you heard about Priyanka andragogy and pedagogy?
So a bit of this, like when we talk about the adult learning, I think that is for child learning and for adult learning. I believe these are the
Absolutely right. Absolutely right, Priyanka. Absolutely right. So I believe the way the child learning psychology works, the way adult learning psychology works is quite different. So that's why the schooling education or till 12th class, the way the curriculum or the education system has been designed is very different from the adult learning practices. While the boundaries are always overlapping some bit because you will find some exceptionally bright children who can be doing something much better than the adults. And I believe there is a child which is doing a PhD probably during her 10th or 11th class. She or he is doing a PhD at that stage where most of the children are just studying in 10th or 11th class. So that's what the overlapping part I'm talking about. But by large, predominantly, yes, schooling, pedagogy and andragogy from adult learning is quite different. So the design methodology, when we talk about cognitive, picks up some of those, you can say, concepts, and then try to map the competencies which are very much required by the adult. And one major difference, anybody would like to highlight that a couple of differences between how the children learn and how adults learn. So Priyanka, if you want to start, and probably if anybody wants to add to that, it would be really interesting. So how do children learn? How do adults learn?
Okay, so sir, I believe that children learn by the way they see and what majority of them are doing. Like Aaron, I would like to give and the way adults learn, that we learn from the experience, we want to discuss, we want to explore, and then we learn. Aaron, I would like to quote an example. I don't know whether that is the appropriate example or not, because I will take the example of my son when he was in first standard, or let's say. So once I was just going through his studies, then I came to know that. There was a concept of pet animal, right? So therein his teacher gave him that fish is a pet animal, right? So the moment I saw, I thought like, how come fish is a pet animal? So then I said that if the same question is given to the adult and he said that, Mama, don't tell me fish is a pet animal, that means fish is a pet animal, because my teacher said everybody is saying the same thing in the school. So that means when 20 students are saying the same, the child will learn that way. They will see, they will they will not they are not into much of exploring things, right? But once I raised the same question during my session while I was taking a session for the bankers or the people who are branch heads, so then they said, ma'am, how come fish is a pet animal? Yes, it is a water animal. It can be pet, it cannot be pet. So then there was a lot of discussion on that. So I believe that when it comes to adult learning, they believe into, exploring by themselves, coming up with the experiences of others. So I think this is one of the difference when it comes to the adult learning and the child learning. So they see more of actions
Okay.
wherein adults believes into learning by doing more, gaining from the experiences of others and sharing their own. So that's what my understanding is.
Okay. I'll probably, from what you said, I may probably partly agree, partly disagree, but let's hear some more views. What do andragogy and pedagogy or child learning versus adult learning? And anybody wants to add to what Priyanka just shared?
I think work also comes into the picture when we talk about the adult learning. Like, I think that is one of the concept belief that some sees by learn by seeing.
And this is something Priyanka could add.
Yeah.
Your voice is feeble, Priyanka.
Hi, yes, sir. There's some connectivity challenge because I'm not at my
Okay,
place right
okay.
now. I'm out of my house. So.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. So just wanted to basically hear if anybody wants to add to that same thing of child learning versus adult learning, because if you have to design a program for an adult versus a program for a child, how do in training methodology could be cognitive itself. Hello, I'm back, friends. I believe I got disconnected in the middle. Am I audible back to everybody?
Now you're audible. In between you were not, but yeah, it's all clear.
So now it is audible.
I know I just got disconnected because of some issue. So I am just back now again. There was no audio. Yes, absolutely. I can hear Rupesh. So I was in the middle. I got completely locked out, and now I can't even share my presentation. Let me see. Vermaji is back host. So Vermaji, if you are there, if you can make me the host or make me share the presentation, it will be great. Vermaji. Okay.
I think you'll have to
Try
call him.
to see, because I have. That's what I have to do. That's what exactly I'm doing that. Not a problem. I believe he will look at it in fact, and then that makes okay. So what I was just talking to Priyanka. In fact, let me. Uh, so Priyanka is probably okay. Atul, do you want to add something to what Priyanka said?
So I lost in between when during the network. Do you have
Okay,
any
okay, okay.
question?
So what
Do you have any
what
question?
what we were discussing actually, Atul, was
Andragogy and pedagogy.
anthropology and pedagogy, and how the designing the training program would be different for a child versus an adult. That's what we were talking about.
Yes, so in andragogy, which is basically for kids, is where the instructor or the trainer is generally, uh, keeps a lead in terms of all the aspects, in terms more of a download that takes place. Some engagement also happens.
Correct.
But in case of a pedagogy, it's a both-way communication process,
Very
both-way sharing examples, both-way learning. And more of it, the teacher becomes an instructor or a facilitator.
absolutely.
That's my understanding.
Very well, very well defined. I believe you nailed it, Atul. So I believe
Thank you,
that's
sir.
what Priyanka. I believe I just wanted to make sure Priyanka is there. She's got dropped out. I'm not sure. Probably no, she's there. So Priyanka,
No, I'm
what
there.
probably the way Atul defined it is very, very right. It's in a school, in a child, it's more of a download. It's a skill which they don't have. For example, I don't know science, I don't know maths, I don't know English, I don't know Hindi, I don't know what. So it's a more of a download of a specific thing. While and that's how the schooling education has been designed. While andragogy, it's a both ways, and the role of a trainer is more of a facilitator. So that's what I believe is a predominant difference between how we give the child and the adult learning practices. And the cognitive way, you have to use some of those practices of or the psychology of child versus the adult. And when you're designing a program, because and one major difference which happens in a facilitative way of adult learning is adults only learn when they need it. So I'm just going to repeat what I said. Adults only learn when they need it. So even if you want to probably give them something which is going to be 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, they may. For it's an education system. किसी को MBA करना है or some PhD करना है. Yes, it's possible. But most of the time, if they want to learn something, they would like to use it right now, or probably in the immediate future. So that's for example, what has happened. The maximum learning today is happening for the people how they can do things virtually, because that's how the virtual world is, and people are working, behaving virtually, and platform, technology platform. Yes, Priyanka.
Okay, so sir, in that case, I was talking about the method. So like for the understanding, like lecture would be more cognitive.
Not really. Lecture will be more download.
So more download. So like for cognitive learning, I was confused with the methods. Like I'm not getting
Correct.
it.
Correct. So
Yeah.
lecture method is like a download where the teacher comes, uses the
Yes.
board and starts giving ki ye chapter mein ye hai, aise aise hai, ye everything. It's a
So that
download.
is cognitive way of no. When we comes to the methods of training, then that would come into the cognitive, no?
Okay, so download method, it's more of a skill-based thing. You are trying to teach a skill. So there are training institutes which are giving you skill. And skill is not trying to, okay. So cognitive way is more on making you think. For example, the moment you are making the other person think, it becomes more cognitive.
Okay, so
And
like
that's why the design of the design of your program has to be so that it has to use multi things, whatever we have used till now in the whole thing. Storyboarding, gamification, or quizzes, you are making the other person think. The moment it is linked to the thinking, that is the time you are actually trying to be more on cognitive way rather than just downloading it, in fact. So
yeah,
that's a classical way of defining it.
That's answer my questions. That was just the confusion, because I was thinking, because when we are doing this, we are also involved. So I was thinking this is more of experience.
Absolutely experiential. So it is experiential. So
Yes.
For example, the way
Cognitive
you
plus
and me are right now interacting, the way you and me and everybody is interacting in this session is also cognitive and experiential.
cognitive. Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
If you actually, you would have noticed me in the last 4 sessions till this today's session, I have not even used the lecture method till now.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Actually, adult learning focuses on problems only, sir. As far as my experience is concerned.
So, Rupeji, you are quite right. It helps in the problem solving, but who's solving the problem? Whether I am solving your problem or you are solving your own problem.
Correct.
I am solving my own problem.
Absolutely.
With the,
I am only
with the
facilitating.
guidance. Yes, yes. With the guidance of some other person.
Absolutely. So that's the differences. So I believe
Yes,
that is very, very important to see from whose problem are you solving. Either you are solving your problem or you are solving others' problem. Many times what people do is they are trying to solve others' problem and then they think they have really done the overall thing. But that's not the right way of, you can say, the learning methodology.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay. So that's really good. Thanks, Priyanka, for asking that. I believe that was really helpful in basically bringing that doubt. So, okay, looks like.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So coming back to, I believe anybody who's left out, who Sudeep, I believe I somehow felt that you couldn't hear us. Sudeep, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So anything from a sharpness perspective you want to bring in from till now, whatever we have done from an experiential perspective, any questions or any doubt which you may have to ask?
Not doubt, but when we started, actually, I was quite a bit confused. But gradually the confusion has dissipated, and now I'm absolutely clear as to what you are trying to give us and what are we supposed to grab and how to use it. So that way it has been quite effective session.
And how are you going to apply this in your working area, Sudeep, if I may ask?
Sir, I am a freelance HR professional. I take training projects, etc., in different organizations.
Very good.
Every organization is different because their strategy, their area of operation, everything is different, and so also the training need of the people.
Okay.
So definitely, this will help me in a great way in designing the right kind of program with right kind of mix of cognitive way and experiential way of imparting training.
Wonderful, wonderful. I believe so. That's very good. I believe, and I believe I'll probably share a case study just in few minutes, and probably it will help you further do, because I'll explain that, because somehow slideshow is not working for me. So I'll explain that slide more on a probably practical aspect, so that will help you visualize how, as a freelance trainer, also you can help work with the organization, design something very customized for them. So that should help you, Sudeep.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe I have Arnab cannot speak. So anybody who has not spoken till now probably want to speak. And in the meantime, if Vermaji, you are there, you can give me the share access as the host if you are there, Vermaji, because that's what I believe has got disabled for Vermaji. Okay, anybody else who has not spoken till now? Okay. Let me see if I have marked Sonachi. Yeah. Oh, Sonachi, I believe you have been a savvy Sonachi. So, do you want to share your experience or probably questions or anything which you have been facing till now in this learning program till now?
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, sir, actually, I'm not sure how to put it, but theoretically, like I've been attending the classes, so I do get an understanding of what we are studying and what we are covering. But like when I started to go through the assignments and they asked, to design the training program and to think about the organization point of view. So I am very new to this. I have never been a trainer or, been among the HR professionals. So from the thinking point of view only, I get a little stuck. Oh, where should I start? Because like all my mates over here and colleagues are sharing their experience and how they start and where their thinking kicks off. I get stuck there only. I mean, sorry, it might be sounding very irrelevant.
Let me tell you, you are the best role model for me, in fact, Sonakshi. So don't worry. I believe because the idea is, अगर कोई शिल्पकार है, उसको अगर एक बनी बनाई मूर्ति दीजिए और उससे मूर्ति इंप्रूव करने को कहिए, और एक शिल्पकार को गीली मिट्टी दे दी उससे मूर्ति बनाने को कहिए, तो शिल्पकार किसको प्रेफर करेगा?
गीली मिट्टी को सर.
Absolutely, Sonakshi. So I believe you are the absolutely bang on at the right stage of your journey in your career to be here. So I'm quite sure. What's your, if you can, in 30 seconds, if you can explain me, what's your background?
Sir, so I have like 5 years of experience and I've been mostly in the IT and BI arena only. So now I was planning to shift more into the part that I could become a trainer and train into things. So never been into this field or tried doing it before. Hello?
So IT people,
Hello?
how long you have been in the IT industry, Sonakshi?
Sir, I cannot hear you. Sorry. Hello?
Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Sonakshi, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Hello? Just a second. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you
Wonderful.
are.
There is some network intermittent thing. So what I was asking is, in IT, how long you have been in IT industry?
So 5 years.
Wonderful. So when I talked about last time case study, a first time manager, were you there? Were you there in the first time case study? While designing a first time manager case study. Sonakshi, you are there? Okay,
Yes,
again
so
there is some problem.
actually, there was a disturbance, so I could not make out what you were asking. Sorry.
What I was asking is, did you see the case study of probably visualize a case study of?
Sir, if you could switch off the video, maybe the audio will be slightly better.
I have done that now. Thank you. Thanks for suggesting that. So I have switched off my video, and hopefully, I believe, Sonakshi, you should be able to hear me now.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So what I was asking a question is, first time manager case study, when I discussed it last time, could you correlate it? Could you visualize? Because that's a very typical case study of an IT industry.
Sir, no, sorry, but I was like actually having a little trouble. That is the issue. In theoretical forms, I can understand what was being put there, but when practicality comes, when it's on me to jot it down. So I'm sorry, I'm not maybe able to highlight the issue as well.
Which is fine, Sonakshi. So my request to you is two things. I'm just requesting you two things.
Sir.
While you should go through the book theoretically, because that's a strong point for you at this point of time. So go through the book and the concept which they've explained it. We have been talking more because we talked about practical and theory both. And I have to make sure that everybody is with me. So read the theoretical part of it, all the different types of things. And the second thing which you will learn from all the discussions of case study and the paper which you have to clear is a typical scenario or a situation which will be given to you. And for that, how do you use a blended approach? And blended approach is something very, very important to basically put yourself into the situation of, for example, if you have to put yourself into the IT engineer's shoes. Agar kisi engineer ke shoes mein, he is working for 5 years, he or she is working as an individual programmer or an individual developer or a designer, whatever he is working. All of a sudden working for 4 to 5 years where he is only responsible for himself or herself. And now he or she is supposed to graduate as a manager or a team leader in an IT industry where he or she has to manage a couple of people, could be 2 people, 3 people or more people, or even 1 person for that matter. So now he's not only responsible for himself or herself, he or she is responsible for somebody else also. So today, if I have 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year, I am now responsible for not 24 hours, 24 into the number of people I have or they are reporting into me. So that's a very typical transition which is happening in anybody as a behavior or an understanding. And that requires skill, mindset, as well as knowledge. All the 3 things which we talk about. And that is what we have to understand and note down all the needs in this transition from an individual contributor to a manager, which is a first-time manager. And that's exactly what we talked about as a first-time manager case study last time, Sonakshi. So typically, when this transition is happening from an individual contributor to a manager, there are certain competencies which has to be developed as a skill which has to be developed. So one very, very simple competency, couple of them is how effectively one can communicate to the people in the team. Could be his boss, could be his subordinate, as well as his peers. That's a very important quality of a manager or a leader. The second quality is how do you really plan and organize things for your team? That's a skill and a competency and a knowledge which has to be learned by the person who is doing that from an individual contributor to a manager. So these are all the qualities or the competencies which have to be developed and taken into consideration while designing a program. So that is how, and some of them you probably can do it offline, which could be e-learning or a quiz, or some of the things which you have to do, in fact, as a practical exercises, which could be on the job, role plays, case studies, or some of them which you can do as, you can say, actually, when you have given them some basic skill, they can go and actually do it in their job. So there are different ways to do that, which I believe I talk about blended method, e-learning, webinar, classroom session, gamification, all those kind of things. You use the right blend of that. कहते हैं ना सब्जी बनाने के लिए उसमें हर चीज हर मसाला डालना पड़ता है, तो वैसे ही लर्निंग प्रोग्राम बनाने के लिए उसमें हर मसाला डालना पड़ता है. So you have to bring in that element and then design that program. So this is actually the nutshell of what we have been discussing till now in the first 4 sessions. So does it give you some bit of a very grassroots level idea, which is what I'm expecting, Sonakshi, from you? First thing is to go through the theory, and the second thing is just take your own example of 5 years and how you are transitioning from an individual contributor to a trainer, for example. Somebody is transitioning himself or herself from an individual contributor, a programmer or a developer, to a leader, project leader or a project manager. Take that, observe that, and based upon that, identify the needs of him or her. And that's how you can start the journey of designing a program. And that's what exactly all of us have been discussing. And specifically, this training methodology is talking about that designing part.
Okay, sir. Sure. I'll try once more and do that. In case again, if I face an issue, I'll reach out to you, sir, and mail you on this.
Sure, Sonakshi. I believe we are all there. The idea is to make sure that this program actually adds value to you. And under the day, I believe everybody should be able to do it. Whether, I believe, while I understand that many of us would be very experienced, and that's true, but I believe you as a young fresher getting into the training industry also has to understand this. This is how you can get into this.
Absolutely, sir. I'll go through the methods again, and like you said, I would I get in touch with my manager also and try and discuss on a friendly note with him also.
Absolutely.
And maybe I'll get a little pointers out of it then to design
Absolutely
it.
right. You can ask him how did he go through that transition from an individual contributor to first time manager? क्या चीजें सीखनी पड़ी, कैसे पड़ी, और कैसे सीखा? Was it a training, or did he learn, observe, or what did you, or did mistakes and that's how he learned? So you
Right,
can
sir.
really ask him, prepare a questionnaire, and then interact with him also.
Sure, sir. I'll do that. I'll work on that and I'll do it.
Okay, chalo, thank you.
Thank you,
So
sir.
moving on, friends, I believe the reason I did this exercise was twofold, because everybody has given an adjective like passionate, adaptable, savvy, Sonakshi, sharp, Sudeep, and ardent, Anant, amiable, Annab, real, Rupesh, jolly, Jiten. So I was trying to actually make sure that we are all living up to that adjective, whatever we have given it to us. So in the interest, I believe by now, because we are in the 5th session, you all may have observed me also by now. It's a 5th session. So just use the chat box and give an adjective what you feel about me. 5th session may, I believe you can type some adjective for me. Now you don't have to give an adjective to yourself. Give an adjective in the chat box and write it that what do you think about me? How do you describe me as an adjective? So you can just type something, whatever you feel as an adjective about me as Shailesh. And it can start from S. Just keep that in mind, because our criteria was the first letter has to start with the name of the person, which is S in my case, in fact. So you can give an adjective to me starting from S, because I started with a word called smart Shailesh. But I believe different people may look at it differently. I believe so. You can, okay. So Priyanka is saying, superb Shailesh. That's interesting. Okay. What else? How do you see me? In fact, different, all of you, how do you see me by now? I believe in the last 4 or 5 sessions, what are the things which you have been seeing me? It's not that you have to appreciate me or something like that. I'm just coming very soon, because on building on some of the concepts which we are building on finally to design this. Okay. How about others? हम दूसरों के बारे में तो बहुत जल्दी ओपिनियन बनाते हैं. I believe it is many times difficult for us ourselves. Okay. Oh wow. Atul is saying, how do you pronounce it?
Scintillating. Scintillating it is.
Scintillating. Oh wow. This is new to me.
It means fantastic.
Okay. That's so Rupesh, you have to give something with S. You have to give an adjective with S. Scintillating. That's interesting. I believe that's a new one for me. I believe so. I believe there's always a new learner inside me also, and a curious person inside me, and which I believe brings in the elements, different elements, which is something very, very important.
Yeah, that's why you're perfect.
So the reason I believe while people are thinking and trying to give an adjective, did anybody think about silent Shailesh? While you may be thinking an orator, superb and smart and everything, did you ever think about a silent Shailesh? And if at all I say silent Shailesh, how can that be true? Will you believe that I am silent? And if true, why? Yeah, go ahead, Atul.
No, sir. What I want to say is that generally, what a person come across to us is not that exactly, or is always the person can be. We all have different shades within our personalities. Definitely, I can assume you to be silent and maybe meditating in a park or in a closed room, for that matter. It's just like an iceberg philosophy that applies everywhere. What you see in a person is not more than 11 to 19%. Rest, there is almost 80% more that you can find in him.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
Wonderful. I believe very well said, Atul, again.
Thank you.
Because sanction Shailesh, okay, Jiten. So simple, Sonakshi is saying, that's true. I believe in simple living and high thinking. I believe in silence, as Atul was defining, because as trainers, we need to basically organize our thoughts. And for that, while you have to practice being a great orator when you require to speak, you need to be silent also to basically really make sure that you are able to connect with the audience, whatever is going to be there in front of you. So for that, yoga and meditation also is something very, very important for the trainers, because in a situation where you are getting into, you don't know. I mean, somebody could be as disturbed as anything, and at that point in time, your silence could be a very, very a big bliss for you as a great listener for him or her. So that's how you become great coaches also. So that's why it is important to be having a personality of a silence also as trainers. So bringing that element, and as very well said by all of you, different people look at different people differently. What does it mean is, I as a same person, I be as Iceberg Atul was talking about, I as a same person is looked after differently by different people. So somebody is looking at a simplicity, while somewhere I am looking at a super personality, or probably scintillating. I believe this word is really. I have to really pronounce it.
Scintillating.
Scintillating.
Yeah, some
So as a
SCINT is a
scintillating. I believe that's really interesting. Scintillating. So S is silent there, scintillating. Okay. So this is, I mean, this is what is interesting. And if I show you, if probably I could have shown you, because I have met thousands, I believe by now more than 30,000 people, and indirectly 4.5 lakh people, and all of them have been looking at me very differently from a different objective perspective. So as trainers, we have to be adaptable to everybody as an audience. But what I'm trying to bring in an element is that you have to look at, when you are designing a program, the same person as an iceberg, which we are talking about, whatever is visible and what is not visible as a competency. So hidden competencies also need to be talked about when you are designing a program. So for example, if it's a customer representative, or a customer relationship manager, or a business development manager, or a person who is an executive dealing with customers. So one thing which is very obvious is communication. He or she should be having a great communication, in fact, and a very impactful and an influencing communication, which is well obvious, which is visible. You can see that. But I believe there could be other things which is not visible. How do you really design a program which is not visible competency at all? So when you are doing a kind of a survey or a questionnaire or a focus group discussion, those competencies will come out in your deliberation or need analysis. Just like what we say is training need analysis, TNA, what we call it. So in that, you can identify that what are the competencies which are hidden. As rightly said, iceberg ke niche kya hai, jo nahi dikh raha hai. So for again the same example, the values which this customer relationship manager has, the respect for time or discipline which he has. कि अगर customer relationship manager को अगर किसी customer के पास जाना है and he doesn't respect the time of punctuality, then I believe he will not be a great customer relationship manager, because he may have a great communication, but if he doesn't value and respect the time of others, he will not be a successful customer relationship manager. So you need to identify that competency and create a program which has to develop that competency also. So that's why I was trying to do this, again, a cognitive way of doing things. As I keep saying that as experiential, and you have to really understand the hidden competencies which has to be developed, as rightly said, by as an iceberg which is hidden. You have to really identify those competencies also and then design the program. So I believe, I hope I am making sense, I believe, to everybody. If anybody has any addition to this example or whatever, I'm trying to make sure that the case study which is given to you, you will have some competencies which are obvious, there will be some competencies which are hidden. So how do you bring out both the elements of competency and then design a program? So any doubts or any questions by now, or any additions to this concept? Just to confirm, am I audible to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I believe so, because now my video is also switched off just to make sure the network is optimally used. So, okay, that's good. So let me give an example of one more case study, because what Rupesh was talking, what Sonakshi was asking for. This is a case study from an organization, and I was working with them on the same context of designing a program for them. So over probably a cup of coffee, I was talking to the head of the business, and there was one line statement which was given to me by the head of the business, and that's how your opportunities will start, friends. So if that is the case for you, I believe that's how most of you probably will develop your business. So the problem statement could be just one keyword or something like that. So that's what happened, and with that one word which business leader shared with me, I said, I believe you can just introduce me to your functional head or the team leader or the manager, and probably I'll work with him or her to probably see how I can help them. That's how the conversation started, over a cup of coffee. And then, and as we were talking about problem solving, so I had to really interact with the couple of people as focus group discussion, which we call it, and interviews. I had to interview a lot of people in the group as a overall. So interview could be people who are out of the training program, as well as a focus group discussion has to happen with people who can be inside the program also. But focus group discussion, when you do, it has to be a sample set, not an exhaustive set. Why? What is a sample set means? You should have people who are having different experiences, different diversity, different level of, you can say, maturity from learning perspective, as well as different mindset. So somebody, while you are interviewing some of the leaders, they will say, "Yaar, ye banda to bahut tough hai. He doesn't listen to me at all. Isko bhi main training mein zarur dalunga." Or there could be other person, oh, he's a role model. Yaar. In fact, isko sab log mante hain, iske paas har problem ka solution hai. He's a good guy. And so that also is a good sample set for you to consider as part of your focus group discussion. So you have to take the sample, mix of sample in a focus group discussion, so that you can really go through the complete training need analysis of identifying the problem and then moving towards designing a program of training need analysis, what we are talking about. So this exercise, what I explained to you in probably 2 minutes, took me 2 months. So I think that's how it was. For 2 months, I was deliberating and interacting, so all these things, working with them, understanding their pain points, and then identifying the need, and then creating and designing a program. So after 2 months of deliberation, my complete design program was being submitted to obviously the business head, because at the end of the day, the commercial had to be agreed and accepted by them. And once that was okay, it took another 1 month, because the program had to be approved by the customer, end customer, my customer's customer. And that what their end customer, or the end customer, was actually in US. So the US actually brings in a cross-culture dimension, and that's what happened. And he was approving that complete program, learning program, with the overall international dimensions of a learning program being designed. And that was a blended program, as you can understand by now, and that's how it was. So this program, probably with design done, need analysis done, interviews done, all focus, iterations of design happened, and then finally went for an approval, and the commercial was agreed. This complete thing took 3 months. The reason I'm trying to tell you how important is this phase, whatever we are trying to learn in training methodology of designing. It took 3 months to do actual designing the program and getting it approved. In your case, if you are doing it for your own organization, it will get only approved. There's no commercial attached to that. The only thing is there's an ROI which they may be expecting, that what are the kind of behavioral change, what are the parameters which are impacted versus what we discussed last time also in a first time manager also. So that kind of a design was done in 3 months. And then after 3 months, from the 4th month, the execution started. The overall training program, which was designed, was of 50 learning hours, around 50 learning hours. So the 50 learning hours was supposed to be delivered over 4 months. It was not that I have to deliver for 50 hours in a stretch of 1 week itself. 50 hours of learning, you can deliver it in 1 week also. But no, it was not. 50 learning hours of the contact hours of my touch to them, of the people who were getting trained, were spread across 4 months. And that engagement was spread across once or twice a week, and for 1 or 2 hours, and or probably 4 hours at the maximum, depending upon if it's a physical or a webinar or a virtual or a e-learning or whatever method of whatever we have talked about it. So, and they were really on the job, actual scenarios as case studies of their problem, because everything, whatever we were doing, was in their context, in their premises, and in their problem statement also. So even the case studies which were being discussed and deliberated in the classroom were actually their case study itself. So even that is getting designed. The content is getting designed. In the 4 months, when you're actually deliberating and delivering it, the content is also getting designed and then delivered across to them. So that's also part of your design. That's also part of your design. So keep that in mind. So first 3 months, design happened, TNA and everything design happened. The next 4 months, the overall concept and the content and everything was delivered to the people. So we are now 3 plus 4, 7 months inside the system. So that's what happened. And the measurements and everything were happening. After 4 months, measurement started inside the business. The overall business started measuring whatever the parameters were agreed on with me, that these are the parameters we'll be measuring. And they were started doing that. So that was measured for another 6 months. So 7 months gone plus 6 months. So 7 plus 6 makes it approximately 13 months. So after 13 months, the complete team, we met again and the presentations happened. And you will not believe, I had the opportunity of customers sitting in that room. The person from US was sitting there and he was observing the problem statement which he was mentioning in the beginning of the program, 13 months before. And he was there in the room. So the impact of the metrics and the parameters and the people who were part of the training were presenting. I was not there. I was only a silent listener sitting there, in fact. So after 13 months, everybody, the team who were the participants, they were presenting their own problem. I was only a silent listener in the overall session, whatever was there for nearly 2 to 3 hours. And the customer, everybody was there. The business head was there. Everybody was there. And they went through the whole exercise, and the metrics parameter which they were measuring, which was agreed obviously in the beginning of the, and it's a business parameter. It's not a HR parameter which I'm talking about. It's a business metrics which we had to make a difference from a learning program. And that's what I'm trying to highlight here, friends. How the design of our training program can really impact a business metrics. So in a journey of 3 plus 4 plus 6, we had started impacting the metrics parameter. And what was the metrics impact? Just to share that experience, there was a mean time to repair, MTTR. If you are aware of the IT, people will know that. Even manufacturing has that. Mean time to repair a specific problem. So the number of days which were there for mean time to repair were around 15 days, which was not acceptable to the customer, which the US customer was not happy about. He said, I mean, it's too long a metrics to basically really get impacted in 15 days. Mean time to repair, MTTR. And after 13 months, when this was measured in their actual life process, that came down to 3 days. So from 15 days or MTTR, it came down to 3 days. And that is the metrics and the impact of a business parameter, which is what the training fraternity has to understand. All of us have to understand. Because till now, the learning was always driven with the HR people parameters. We were never able to correlate the training design with the business parameters. And my dear friends, this is the need of the hour. Today, people are asking that when you are delivering a training, it should impact my business parameter. And I believe it is, and we have all the doubts of how can I make sure that by skill, by the mindset, by the knowledge, I can impact your business parameter. Because वो तो अभी training में आएगा, चला जाएगा, फिर भूल जाएगा बाहर जाकर के. He will start working the same way the way he was working. So how can I ensure that it can impact your business parameter? And today, as you can say, as the training fraternity in India, and honestly, friend, this is not a new concept which I'm sharing it with you. This has been prevalent in other parts of the world. The only thing in India, this has been prevalent in the last 10 years only. And still it has not reached to the grassroots level of training which we are talking about. If I go to a manufacturing organization like Maruti, probably they may be doing it in some bits and pockets. If I go to probably another kind of a setup of which is you can say a chemical setup or a factory, they will not be probably talking about it at the same level of maturity. So we as freelancers, trainers, business people, and in our organization, how can we design a program which can impact the business metrics is what should be our key value add and differentiator. So this is one case study which I was sharing of how a journey of 3 plus 4 plus 6 really can impact a business parameter. And this is the criticality of design. So I'll pause here and again ask if anybody has any questions. Okay, so Arnav has joined from mobile. That's great. Absolutely fine, Arnav. That's fine. If you can hear us out or if you can unmute, want to share something, feel free to do that. So anybody has any other sharing or observations or questions on the case study?
So transfer of learning is, I think, one of the most important factor, which is not happening in most of the organization.
Correct.
As I think.
So I
because
believe
we provide only trainings as for the sake of training only. We provide trainings.
It's a checkbox. It's just a checkbox.
Up to some. Yeah.
Compliance. कि इतने घंटे ट्रेनिंग करनी है कर दी.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I believe
HR has to be.
That's why we are discussing this, Rupesh ji, because how this design methodology which we are learning really can create a business metrics impact is what we are talking about. And I believe that is what I believe as ISTD and ASTD and every organization which is the premier organizations have to make a difference.
Yeah, definitely, sir, because we only focus on output, not outcome. That is the basic difference, actually.
And that's why
as a HR person, we only
Go ahead.
As a HR person, we only focus on output. We have to, conduct this training for the sake of training, and we have to compliance for ISO and whatever. So we are not focusing on outcome, whether it is suitable for our business or not, or something like that.
Correct. And that's why it is important that we focus on outcome. And I believe, just to give an example of outcome, because I am an innovation certified coach also from Cornell Institute of US. So I design most of my programs which are very innovative also. And not only programs are innovative, I make sure that the participants also are transforming themselves into their problem statement innovatively. So this program I just described in 13 months, the same set of people in 4 months of delivery, they had generated around 102 ideas. 102 ideas got generated by the same 20 people. And we classified them in 6 problem statements. That's what we were talking about. Some buckets of 6 problem statements. And when we presented, the same team presented to their business head. Business head was shocked. He said, from last 3 years, I've been asking this team to generate and give me some areas where we need to improve. Which are the areas which I need to improve? I am ready to invest. I'm ready to invest in technology, hardware, software, etc., people, whatever, whatever. But these people have not been telling me. And now you all of a sudden, after 4 months, you are giving me the 6 problem statements and you have prioritized it, etc., etc. I said, I didn't do that. It's your people who have done that. So, as you rightly said, Rupesh, it's outcome. And how can we really make sure that we focus in our design at the outcome rather than the overall, just the methodology itself.
Yeah.
So anybody has any other questions or observations or comments on this case study? Varma ji, you are there? By any chance, if you are there? No, Varma ji is not there. Okay. If okay, just to make sure that you are all are there. I will sometime in the
Yes,
middle,
yes, sir.
my audio goes and sometimes just type, everybody type an I inside the chat box. So at least you are there and you are able to hear me out. And this topic of case study, the way we are emphasizing on design, is it making sense to you? And I believe you are ready to design programs on your own. I believe the idea is you should be able to design programs on your own. So thanks, Sudeep. Thanks, Rupesh ji. Thank you, Sonakshi. Thanks, Jiten. I can see all four of you now. So at least you are there. And I mean, you are getting ready towards moving to the next milestone in your own world, practically as well as theoretically. Thanks, Anant. Okay, what about others? I mean, there are others also. At least we are 9 of us right now. Others, I believe, are there. What about Anupma? I didn't see Anupma. Atul is there. I can see that. Thank you. Anupma. Okay. What happened to Anupma? Did we lose him? What about? Okay. So at least people are there. What I thought of showing you probably, which is not going to work right now, is a case study. I was trying to show an organizational case study. I just shared. If you actually see, I have tried to move in programs and design programs for you at 3 levels. Last time we talked about as an individual person. So individual, you design programs impacting the individual. First time manager is an individual program. The case study which I just shared with you, this is like a team or a functional program. So a functional or a business is getting impacted and the team is getting oriented towards that. So that's how the second level of program is, which is a team level program. And the third case study which I'm going to share is more at an organizational level. You design learning programs at an organizational level, which completely impacts the culture of the organization. And that is something, a different level of design, which has to be done. And honestly, I believe, while personally I have done it all the 3 levels, but it's important for you all also to really graduate yourself. You can start with the individual level, which is what we talked about last time as a first time manager. Then you can graduate to the team program, the case study I explained to you. And then the case study which I'm going to share with you, which is at an organizational culture level. So let me just open the floor for everybody. What kind of things can you really focus as a change in a culture at an organizational level? So I would like all of you to share at least 1 or 2 views of yours, what we can change as an culture by learning programs or learning initiatives at an organizational level. So let's hear all of you for a few minutes, and before I share a case study for that. So who wants to take the lead and start? Yeah, Jitenji, you want to share that? Jolly Jiten, we want to hear you.
Sir, organization culture in terms of learning and development. I mean, in terms of learning only.
So we are designing a program which can impact the culture of anybody and everybody inside the organization, right from the CEO to the security guard.
Okay.
Even it can impact your vendors. Even it can impact your customers. Okay. So who else? Anybody can just unmute yourself and share some examples. What do you feel we can impact as an organization culture through designing a learning program? Jiten, you are there? Oh, no. Okay, Sudeep, go ahead.
So one thing which I have experienced is one area where training can make a great impact in taking feedback by the organizations, right from the top to the bottom.
Wonderful.
Giving feedback and taking feedback. That is one area which will drastically change the culture of any organization.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah,
Absolutely
Shailesh,
right. Back.
Jiten here. Shailesh,
Yeah,
Jiten
Jiten.
here. I was writing something. I was just writing the point. That's
Okay.
why I was kept silent.
Okay.
Whatever related to organizational development in terms of HR or training and learning and development activity, it is all about how we can train our employee and how can we can get the maximum output in the minimum resources. Like if the person we recruit, so from beginning, from his learning concept from 0 to reach out at the 10 level, so that should be beneficial in terms of his learning ability also, and as per the TNA also, training need analysis, whatever the organization wants from that particular person, that should be the training program should be designed like this.
So, Jiten, I believe what you are sharing is right, but at a level of individual level. So
See,
I talked about 3 levels. So first level is individual level, second level is team level, and third level is organizational level. So what you are sharing is at an individual level.
Yes.
And what I'm asking is right now at an organizational level. So for example, just now, I believe what we heard as a very good example by Sudeep ji is feedback, accepting and giving feedback at all levels. It can really change the organization's culture.
Okay.
So that is something which has to be identified. Does your organization need it? Not every organization will need it, maybe because you don't require that everybody should be giving and receiving feedback. Yeah, as a culture.
Like in all the in our organization, or not especially in my organization, what we observe for every trainer, whatever we have conducted the training program, either freelancer, either as a panel trainer, either as an associate trainer, and after the end of the program, at the last half an hour, we took or a feedback form. What are your objective? Why you came for this program, and how we met the program objective as well. What you learned, like this kind of feedback program we have taken also.
So Jiten, again, what you are talking is again at an individual level or at a training level, training program level.
Okay.
Training design, what we are talking as a methodology can impact at 3 levels. So feedback which you talked about, I'm going to refer, and this is a homework for everybody. I'll pick it up in fact in the next session, 6th session. The homework for today is just go ahead and read a model called Kirkpatrick model. Kirkpatrick model. So what you talked about, Jiten, as a feedback is at level 1. Okay. And Kirkpatrick model talks about 4 levels. So the feedback which you talked about is at level 1. So go ahead and read that, and I believe you will understand what I'm talking about. And then you will be able to map it at which level of impact do you want to create it at, and what level. So right now, when I started with level 1. Okay. But right now, what I'm talking about is I'm talking at level 4.
Right, sir, in my opinion, that learning, how we'll convert that learning opportunity into growth, how fast we can convert, that would be the, in our training design, so that people will understand if we learn something, if we increase our KSA or something like that, so we can grow in that organization very fast.
So, Rupeji, I believe fast may be important for some organization, but not for every organization. So, for example, certain organizations who are probably trying to bring in, there's a certain process which they have to follow. अब वो कोई process में इतना time लगता ही लगता है. मतलब in very crude form, भाई 9 महीना बच्चा पैदा होने में लगता है, तो 9 महीने तो लगेगा ना.
Right, sir. Absolutely.
So I mean, you can't be efficient beyond that, in fact. So the point which I'm trying to make it is, fast may not be a culture impact at an organization level. It could be at a team level or at an individual level. कोई individual fast नहीं काम करता, बहुत slow काम करता है, lazy है बंदा, procrastinate करता है. So uske liye probably wo program relevant hai. But as an organization culture, you can't say that everybody has to become fast.
Right.
So
But
one
learning
example is,
opportunity, it's one of the
sorry,
learning
just say that
opportunity.
again.
So maybe learning opportunity, one of the, I mean, maybe one of the culture, organization culture for any organization.
Again, I believe that's again very generic. I am looking for more specific, like the way feedback Sudeep ji suggested.
Right, right.
Atul, do you want to have any other parameter? You have anything from your experience?
Apart from feedback, you mean?
Apart from feedback, yes.
Giving and taking feedback.
At an organization level.
The function of training.
That's again, yes, I believe that's true. But what do you want to create an impact in an organization?
I mean, maybe the overall behavioral change.
Again, it's generic, Atul.
Yeah.
Feedback
Not
is
able
very
to say,
specific,
right.
and I agree with Sudeep ji.
Yeah.
Okay, think about it. What about others? Anupma ji or Anand ji, anything which you want to add to this discussion? Because this is a very, this is making you think at the level of 4, which is what I'm trying to do. Sorry. Anand ji and Anupma ji, are you there? Ardent Anant and adaptable Anupma. Anant, I believe we are not able to hear you. You are unmuted, but we are not able to hear you. No, we are still not able to hear you, Anant. Arnav, are you able to join, unmute yourself or probably speak now by any chance in your mobile? Because you said you have joined mobile rather than laptop. So okay. Okay. So, friends, I believe let me give you in the last 5 minutes. Anand, we couldn't hear you, so I believe probably we missed you. So let me give you a case study again, which is something which really impacted as a parameter at an organizational level. So this was the organization in 2005, which was a normal growing organization, which was growing at a 30% CAGR. But somehow or other, how it was losing the market share, mind share, and talent share. All the 3 parameters they were losing. And that's how what they did, they started asking very tough questions for themselves. Kya karna hai, kaise karna hai? The same TNA which we are talking about. But TNA is not at an individual level or a team of business or a functional level. This TNA was done at an organizational level. Because
Organization.
Sorry? Yatul.
No, sir, I did not say anything.
This was at an organizational level against the competition. They were losing the market share, mind share, and talent share. So this was a complete TNA done at an organizational level, and they came back completely with a whole paradigm shift in impacting the culture of the whole organization. And in a span of 5 years, this parameter, when it was being rolled it out across the organization, it became a role model case study all across the industry globally. And obviously, once it started impacting the business, the growth really became very phenomenal, and it became a Harvard case study. Today, it's a Harvard case study, and there's a book written on this book itself also. The CEO himself wrote the book. And the name of the complete philosophy of organizational change was employee first, customer second. I'm going to repeat that. Employee first, customer second. How can that be possible? Employee first, customer second. Management ने सारे लोगों ने तो ये बताया था customer first, customer भगवान है. How can you say employee first, customer second? And that is a paradigm shift as an organizational culture which makes a difference. And you can really create initiatives around that as a learning initiative around that, how you can really be employee first and customer second, and how you can educate your customers. How can customer accept that I am second now, yaar? I am paying you a business. I am giving you revenue. How can you treat me second? How can you educate your customers?
Shailesh sir, what was the company name? What was the company name? That
I want everybody to guess that.
It's maybe Virginia and Atlantic.
Sorry,
Grossman.
no.
I think it's Google.
British.
Google.
No.
British Airways or something like that.
No. It's an Indian company, multinational, but aaj ki tarikh mein it's an Indian origin company. And it's one of the top 5 IT companies in India. That's a hint. It's a top 5.
It's IBM.
No, it's an Indian company, bhai.
Indian
So
company.
is it TCS?
TCS is number 1 pe Sonakshi, but it's not TCS. TCS is definitely
It may be
one of the
Wipro.
top, and it's the biggest.
Wipro, sir. It may be.
No,
HCL. HCL.
It is HCL Technologies. Yes, Sudeep ji.
I have read that book.
HCL Technologies. Oh, wonderful. So, what were your observations, Sudeep ji?
It was actually eye-opener.
Okay.
The concept is very clear. Unless you satisfy the employee, how do you expect they in turn transmitting the positivity to the customers?
Absolutely. So, absolutely right. And if you have read that book, you would have read it. There are 4 tenets which it talks about.
Yeah.
4 tenets. And there are this 4 tenets is something which is going to be very, very important. And I'll just name those tenets. It's called mirror is the first tenet. Then it talks about trust through transparency as the second tenet. And it talks about reverse accountability as the third tenet. And recasting the role of the CEO is the 4th tenet. So this book's what I'm talking about, what Sudeep ji has already read, talks about these 4 tenets. So my dear friends, my request to you is, this is again a small interesting, this is not a homework, I'll call it. Homework is Kirkpatrick. You have to read that because that's important for you to understand your theory and practical. But this case study of employee first, customer second from HCL Technologies, you can read that as a interesting read. You will really feel, really as a mind shift, you will find transformed when you really understand that. And when we meet next time in the 6th session, I'll be very happy if some of you have read that. And if you have anything to share with me, because I am a walking, talking person who can really walk that book. I can give you something from that book. But each and every page, every letter of that book, I can really talk about it. I can go on and on for days, not hours, days. Because I have gone through that journey myself, and I was part of the leadership team who did that. So you can really come back and really ask and share some of your observations. And if you have any questions on that philosophy, because this is at the ultimate level, at organizational level of change or a transformation journey. You want to do a change management or a transformation, that's what exactly is required at an organizational level as a learning and development initiative. Again, I'm repeating that, as a learning and development initiative. So you all can do that. And that's why this cognitive way of training methodology can really take it to the ultimate level of organizational level impact. So what we talked about till now, I believe, is all the different types of training methodologies, cognitive, everything. And we talked about the different thing which is required in an organization, which could be professional excellence, sales excellence, leadership excellence, and organizational initiatives, what I just now talked about. We talked about impacting at 3 levels, which is individual level, team level, and organizational level. 3 levels of that. And all these things, when you're trying to use all those different blended methods of training, which is there in your chapter 6, you can design a program, blended program, impacting all these 3 things, individual, team, and organization. But what is important today is just not the HR metrics of impact through this training designs. You can impact the business parameters also through the training design of yours. So I'll pause here, and if there are any questions what we have covered till now, because by now, from a syllabus perspective, I have more or less covered the syllabus which is required for your paper 3. And if you have any more questions, I believe today I talked about andragogy and pedagogy also. And that's again very, very important to understand from a cognitive perspective. So any questions on things what we have talked till now? So I have an interesting one then. So if there are no questions, I have posted a link inside the chat box. Just click the links and put your learning today, whatever you have learned today, and you want to start applying that in your journey ahead. You should record it as a start, something new which you have learned, you want to start, and which you have been doing that. Thanks for doing it earlier also. So whoever has done that, please do that, because that is something which you're going to take back from here. And that is what exactly will help you and me connect again in this journey ahead in your career itself. So feel free to reach out to me at any point of time as a career journey. And I believe I will be very happy to help you in your career, because my belief is of success is growing by growing others to grow. Growing by growing others to grow. If you all will grow in your career through this platform of ISTD, I am very sure that you will grow, ISTD will grow, and I personally as an organization will also grow. So that's how I believe in growing by growing others to grow. So keep recording your learnings here, start, stop, continue, which is what I've shared the link. And the feedback link will be shared by Varmaji towards the end of paper 4. So there you will be giving the feedback for all the 4 papers, paper 1, 2, 3, and 4 for today's sessions. So just click the link, fill up that form quickly so that your learning journey gets captured, and whatever is fresh in your mind, you have recorded it, which will help you capitalize on whatever your learnings of today. Varmaji, are you there now?
Yeah, I am there.
Sir, welcome back, sir. आपका स्वागत है वापस. चला गया तो मेरे होस्ट और शेयरिंग राइट भी चले गए.
आपका होस्ट ट्रांसफर करके देखूं?
Am I audible, वर्मा जी?
Yeah, I am getting.
अब तो कोई फायदा नहीं है, अब तो खत्म हो गया सर.
छोड़ दूं?
छोड़ दें सर.
Right.
So I believe I have anyway completed the session interactively here today again, and I couldn't only share the PPT because somehow sharing rights were not there. But I believe that's fine because it was only case studies, so we have discussed the case studies. So.
Shall I transfer the host to you?
Not required, sir. Not required, sir. No.
I think quietly it turned to, I think, turned back or something. No problem.
Because of some network issue. It was not something else. It was a network issue.
Something got disturbed.
Correct. For in a middle, I got disconnected for a few seconds. So thank you, friends, all of you. Thank you, Sudeep ji. Thank you, Rupesh ji. Thank you, Sonakshi. Thanks, Anupma. Thanks. Look forward meeting you all again in our next session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Now I think we can